Okay, this video is going to cover the basics of adding and subtracting fractions. We've done a lot with this in class, and we've added another layer onto this with the simplest form, and I'm going to discuss that in this video also. Okay, so first thing we do when we have to add or subtract any fractions, we need a common denominator. Okay, so I know that 2 can go into 12, so 12 would be a good common denominator, so this is just going to stay as 4 12ths. Okay, and then I'm just going to set this one up like we've always done with finding a common denominator way back when we started with comparing fractions. So this will become 12. 2 times what gives me the 12? 2 times 6. What I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So that becomes 6 12ths. A lot of the students know that this is a half, and then half of 12 is 6 also. Okay, so I encourage students as they become more efficient and proficient with these terms, that if they know little shortcuts, they can start implementing them as long as it does not affect their ability to get the correct answers. So when we add, the denominator always stays the same. 4 and 6 is 10. Okay? So this answer it's a correct answer. However, the state standards do want the students putting these into simplest form. Okay, so simplest form, it's a kind of a misleading name because it's not a simple process to determine what numbers you need to divide out of the fraction to put into simplest form. This is where knowing your multiplication facts and your division facts really come in handy. There's no one fast rule to do it. Okay, you kind of have to analyze your answer to determine, okay, is there a number that goes into both 10 and 12 that I can divide out? Okay, well, one of the rules I do tell the kids, well, what number can always be divided out of 2 even numbers? Well, since I have 2 even numbers, I can always divide out 2 over 2. So 5, 6 would be my answer. Okay? On the quiz with this stuff, okay, I would, if there's 6 problems on the page, each problem is going to be worth 1 point. Okay? So this would give the kids 1 point. And then for the overall page, if they're all in simplest form, they get an additional point. If they're not, they'll lose a point. Okay? So each page will be worth 7 points. Each problem is worth 1 point, and then putting them into simplest form would be another point. Because this process is not easy for the students to catch on to, and the more we work with it, the better we'll get with it. So they'll have some leeway with it. But it will, it's going to be hard to get, an A+ or stay in that A range, depending on how many points there are on the quiz, without being able to put them in simplest form. It's not going to sink your grade if you're still struggling with it. Like I said, we're going to be doing more practice with this. Okay? Again, I know, let's do a subtraction problem. 3 can go into 6, so I'm going to use 6 as my common denominator. You can always get the common denominators, like I said, way back when, by multiplying the denominators together. But as we're getting better and better with this, our math knowledge is growing. It works to our advantage if we can find the smallest denominator that we can use, because smaller numbers are easier to work with, and number 2, it does reduce the chances that we would have to simplify the answer. Okay, so same process. What number times 3 will equal 6? Well, 3 times 2, 2. Okay, so I get 3/6 as my answer. What number can be divided out of 3 and 6? Well, that'd be 3 over 3, which would be 1/2. And at this point, a lot of kids recognize right away that 3/6 is a half, and they'll just, skip this part and write 1/2. Okay? We're going to be doing more work in class here next week. Wednesday or so, somewhere in the middle of the week, we'll have a quiz on this. So we're going to do nightly practice with homework, 6 to 12 problems as we move along with this. If you have any questions, just send me an email, watch the video a couple times, and see me during Titan Time.